Let's welcome now Manuel A.Gonzalez-Sanz, former Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2014 to 2018, Republic of Costa Rica. He was also Vice President of Human Rights from 2002 to 2006 and formerly board member of the International Bank of Costa Rica. Welcome, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Greetings to everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I know that we have some time constraints, so I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. The topic that brings us together today is business transformation for post-pandemic. Is it really over? Where do we stand in regards to this pandemic and how to address the important topics ahead? My particular topic is the impact on international trade. I wish I could have a much more positive message or ideas to share with you today, but unfortunately, there is not a very clear forecast that we can assess yet in terms of the impact on international trade. There are some positive aspects, and I try to keep positive, but the reality is that we are facing a lot of difficulties internationally. We have the US factor, we have the oil prices, we have inflation, we have the war in Ukraine. Each country has to deal in a different way and tackle in a different way the problems that we are facing. We cannot have a recipe for the world, a recipe that will suit everybody's needs. We all know that for a healthy economy to exist, we need the appropriate flow of money, of goods, of services. And to do that, it doesn't happen out of the sky. We need people to do that. And we need people to be in good shape, in particular economically, to allow these flows to continue. Are we in that position now? That's one of the questions that we have to make ourselves. Seems like recession is inevitable, but how bad is it going to be? How deep? What kind? How much is it going to last? We still don't know. We have a lot of uncertainty ahead. Have we assessed, do we really know if there has been structural damage to the supply side of the economy? What can we do? How we can tackle those problems? Can the private sector do it alone? Obviously not. Can the public sector do it alone? Obviously not. It's been said, we need partnerships between the public and the private sector. But is there the real will to do that, and to what extent? We still don't know, because we all know that resources are very limited. And I think that we can agree that there is no manual, no textbook, no playbook for the countries to manage the situation that we have been living during the last couple of years. And we are still facing not only the consequences of what we lived during the pandemic or when the pandemic started, but for some countries, the situation is still in very bad shape. We all know that richer economies, richer countries, more developed countries recover faster, but we cannot leave anyone behind. And that's the challenge for the international community. How to help those economies that will take much longer to recover. We all know that if credit is interrupted, the situation is going to be even worse. So the risk of a financial crisis is still there. And that's one of the aspects that, that we should pay more and more attention. We are in an uncharted territory. We have risks coming from different sectors, different sides. And I think that here, because of this not so good panorama that I am describing, is where we need innovation. Innovation, we have to think, of course, out of the box to tackle all these problems. We need to bring new ideas, all sorts of new ideas. And that's where a forum like this has a very important role to play. Nevertheless, not everything is negative. We have to agree that in regards to international trade, there was much faster recovery, in particular in the trade of goods. Services are coming a little bit slower for obvious reasons. People cannot travel, for instance. Tourism is deeply impacted still. But one has to recognize that trading in goods recovered much faster. And we are seeing new trends in international trade. For instance, firms, companies are looking to have multiple suppliers coming from multiple regions in the world. Those who had put all the eggs in the same basket are suffering or suffer more. So companies are taking a different approach, a new approach towards risk, because they know that they cannot depend only on one big economy or only on one big supplier. What we are starting to see is more regional trade than global or international trade. This is this also involves this concept of reshoring or nearshoring, and there is a whole debate. Is that the right approach, or should we actually look for more and better opportunities for trade globally? What is the role that some international organizations are going to play? For instance, we urgently need a reform at the World Trade Organization level. I think this is a good opportunity to put that reform in place. And of course, we need stronger international financial institutions, in particular to help those small economies that are still suffering a lot. We also have to watch out for the phenomenon of protectionism. There is a temptation to do it, and I believe that is not the right way to do it. And we also have to watch out and be very careful about the temptation of governments to play and to take some decisions with a very heavy political component. That should not be the case either. This is the opportunity to make change, to take appropriate decisions for the long run, for the future, but let's watch out about populism as well. Definitely, we have to face the geopolitical risks, which are bigger. Governments do have a role to play in terms of gathering information, putting it available to everyone inside the countries, expand the opportunities for trade, look for new agreements regionally and with other parts of the world, create stable and predictable policies, work on the cost of infrastructure and improve infrastructure, in particular technological infrastructure. But the reality is that firms will have to do a lot of work themselves. They cannot rely on governments to do the right things for them. And governments cannot rely on other governments or other parts of the world or other countries to do the work that they are supposed to do. So we don't have a clear forecast. The future, the immediate future doesn't look too bright, but we have to keep positive. There are some signs that things can recover and can recover fast and can recover even to better levels than before pandemic. But we still have a lot of work to do, in particular together. No country can get out of what we are facing alone. So I thank you again for the opportunity to address you today. Thank you.